Alright, I'm feeling a little off, but I'll be good.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay. We'll just get right back into it. Alright, well, welcome back to the Hotfix. I am Jaxler, and I'll be showing off Pumpkin Jack for you folks tonight. And I have a friend with me on commentary, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's CorundumCore, or Ruby, as Jax will inevitably call me at some point, and I'm your commentator tonight.
Yeah, so this is a really cool run. If you've never seen this game before, this is a indie 3D action platformer, kind of in the vein of a game like A Hat in Time, but with more of a Nightmare Before Christmas flair and sort of a spooky theme to it. And it's got a lot of movement tech, so if you're into like the really tech-heavy 3D platformer runs, don't go away. This is a really sick run, and we'll get off to a really quick start. And as a result, Ruby's going to be helping me out with the commentary because I probably won't be able to talk for the first bit because some of the movement tech in this game is pretty advanced. Before we begin, though, I'll just briefly explain the category. I can speak English, too. This is a New Game Plus run, meaning that we'll be starting with all the game's unlockable weapons by starting from a completed file through the level select. Additionally, this is a no out of bounds run, meaning that we'll be staying in bounds for the entirety of the run. Some things will look a little not out of bounds, but because of the way that we've defined our rule set for this speedrun and for our community, we'll be doing some kind of borderline things that will look a little weird. But we'll bring this up as we sort of get closer to those bits. But I'll go ahead and hop into the first level to start off the run, but we don't start time until we gain control of our character. So I'm going to skip this intro. Oh, I got to restart level here in order, because I was doing some practice, TM. But we're going to skip this opening cutscene here, and time will start when I gain control of my character. So we're going to crash down to the ground, and it's going to be 4 seconds from when you hear the thud. Okay, so we'll get ready, and then we'll count together. So that's 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, and right off the bat, you're going to start seeing some of the signature movement from New Game Plus. That's called an Orb Boost. Basically, the Orb is a weapon that you get at the end of the regular gameplay. And what you do is you do a double jump and a mid-air attack that does this kind of dive bomb. We open up the weapon menu in order to cancel the landing lag of that attack. And then you can also do a bunny hop as you're hitting the ground to transfer that vertical momentum into horizontal momentum and give yourself a bunch of speed. When we're not doing Orb Boost, we're going to be doing rolling, which is basically the fastest, like, non-speedrun tech movement that you can do in the game.
Yeah, and even though like I'll be going for orb boosting a lot, sometimes I'll actually roll on purpose to put me in a position to get a cleaner orb boost. And that's just kind of something that we kind of have learned to do as we've gotten used to the game and have experimented a bit.
Yeah, rolls are really, really useful for spacing, because a lot of times you're going to want to do orb boosts in very specific locations, very specific slopes, in order to maximize your speed, and rolls are a set distance, so it's really useful.
Yeah. Additionally, you'll see me roll when I'm going uphill. You'll see that a bit more when we get into the escape sequence towards the end of the level. But when you attempt to... You can go for orb boosts off of inclined upward slopes, but they tend to cut some of your speed when you go for them, so we try to roll in some places to avoid that. I was going for something there called a lamp boost. If you break it in a specific way, you can get a ton of extra speed off of it. But it's very quick to back up, so it's not really a huge deal to miss that one. You'll see me go for a bunch of them throughout the run, but there's another one coming up in about like 15 seconds or so that I'll try to go for a safer version so you can see what a lamp boost looks like. So go ahead and line up for it by jumping on these barrels. Turn around. Oh, no, don't fall off, Jack. Turn around. Thank you. That's a lamp boost. And so they're generally quicker and a lot more effective to set up than an orb boost. But most of the time when you do a lamp boost, you're locked to a set direction based on the way that the lamp is facing. So, you know, you would think that every lamp you go by, we would try to orb boost off, or lamp boost off of. But there's a lot of restrictions that are involved with lamp boosting that we'll get more into when we get into the third level especially, is when we have a lot of the really ridiculous lamp boosts.
Yeah, so right now what we're doing is we're doing a little Pumpkinhead section. Basically, we're in an area that Jack can't fit his body in, so he just detaches his head. There's a couple of these that we're going to see during the run, but we skip most of them just because it's faster to not do them.
Yeah, I think we'll only be seeing one more if I remember correctly, which is pretty incredible, because there's a lot of them in this game.
Yeah, only one more.
Yeah, which will be in the 4th level. Do you want to explain this here?
Yeah, so we're going to be doing some really tight spacing here in order to avoid some fights that are on the lower level. Got to do an Orb Boost here. Doing the backup, or got the Orb Boost anyways. Nice. The backup is actually way harder than just getting the Orb Boost first try, so good job on that. And now we're entering our first like required fight of the run. We basically just have to defeat 4 enemies. While we're doing that, we're causing the fire to spread. The barn's going to start burning down, and we've got to escape it.
Alright, 51, not bad. So I'm using kind of the in-game timer up in the top left corner to sort of determine my pace, I guess. It doesn't really matter too much since, you know, this is a marathon setting, but, you know, I just like to make sure I'm not failing too epically for y'all. Do you want to explain some of the movement in here and the slopes?
Yeah, exactly. So like we were talking about earlier, you want to Orb Boost on downward slopes and flat surfaces, because if you're Orb Boosting on an upward slope, it's going to cut into some of your speed, and depending on how steep that slope is, it can actually be slower than just doing a basic roll. So Jax is going to be basically just spacing out attacks in order to maximize speed. Also, assuming that we actually land those Orb Boosts, it's way harder than it looks. Jax makes it look super easy, but if you try running this game, you'll see that this takes some time to get to this level.
Yeah. Also, to give you an idea of...
isn't bad.
Yeah, sub 340 is really good. To give you an idea of like how bad like the Out of Bounds breaks this run, it's a cool run. But to give you an idea of how much time it cuts, the level would have been done probably like either by now or like 30 seconds ago, or even earlier. I don't remember because it's been a little bit since I've seen that
yeah,
footage.
I think it's like a 2.5 minute.
It's really ridiculous.
Yeah.
For the like, for without the Orb Boosting even, which is the funny part. Do you want to explain this fight?
All right. Yeah, exactly. So we're basically on our first boss fight. This is the Scarecrow. Just going to do some attacks. You're going to see us just kind of standing still here. For whatever reason, the physics engine doesn't detect us if we're standing still on some of those, shockwave attacks. So we can just stand there and not have to worry about it. That's going to be super helpful in later fights that make me mad every single time I see it, because I really struggled during my casual playthrough. But we'll talk about that later. Just got one more section of dodging, then attacking the Scarecrow with our little crow friend, and that's the first boss.
That's a 35. That's really solid.
35 is really
anything
good.
under a 450 is really good, and my best is like a 424. So
yeah.
That's really good. And the movement, because there's so many Orb Boosts that you go for in that level, even compared to some of the others, it's really tough. But yeah, like I was saying, so like that level was Orb Boost City, but in these later levels it starts to become a lot more vertically complicated. So I have to kind of change my approach here. So I actually premeditate a lot of the spots that I Orb Boost here, in order to make sure that I don't get like stuck on any collision, because obviously if you bonk into a wall, you'll lose speed. So right here I do a roll to set up an Orb Boost, and then we'll be going into something here called First Bomb Skip.
So basically, you may notice, you may have noticed by now that every single time we open the menu, the in-game timer actually slows down proportionally to how much the movement of the game world slows down. Getting some proxies.
Yeah, there we go.
But that allows us to do a thing called a menu jump. We'll explain how that works a little bit later when we hit this next auto scroller. But you're going to see a lot of those menu jumps throughout the run, especially as the levels get more vertical.
Yeah.
So basically, what the menu jump does is slows down the game. But for whatever reason, the in-game check for how long you've been on the ground before it gives you your double jump back does not slow down with the rest of the game. So the amount of time that you need to be on what's considered the ground is way, way shorter whenever you're in a menu. So you can use that to scale basically vertical areas, primarily whenever there's two walls that are meeting. and you're going to see that is going to allow us to skip really long, like, winding sections, and in some places allow us to go, like, on the very edges of what's considered inbounds or out of bounds in order to go really, really fast. As for these auto-scroller sections that we're doing right now, it's basically 2 buttons, jump and shoot.
Yeah, you can't really do anything to speed this up, unfortunately. But we will do something on the third of these minecart sections, which is quite interesting. Something I'll also mention before we get out of this minecart is that we cap the frame rate at 60 FPS, and I think we keep VSync on as well, if I remember correctly, in order to stabilize some of these tricks, like lamp boosting, orb boosting, and menu jumping to make them more consistent. I couldn't hit that one. So right here, I'm going to go for another menu jump off where this rock and tree meet, so I can get a little bit of extra height, and then I can jump off the tree branch to get up here, and you can see a lot more level down there that we're supposed to platform over, and we can completely bypass that with that menu jump. There's ways that you can do that without menu jumping, but that's the fastest way of getting up there that we know of. And then there's another lamp boost right there. And then as we get through this section, I'm going to go to the right side and then jump up to this box in order to skip a cutscene. Because, like we mentioned, cutscenes don't count for in-game time in this run. That movement only saves a second, but in RTA it saves a bit more. So to make the producers a bit more happy with my performance, we go for that cutscene skip.
Yeah. And you'll notice that Jax is doing jumps, like, way earlier than you might think, and that's just because...
I'm gonna go
like
heal.
in Pumpkin Jack, you fall so quickly.
Yeah.
Like it's way faster than you'd expect, so you have to jump and start your orb boost pretty early, which takes a little while to get used to when you start running the game.
Yeah.
And so this is the second auto-scroller section. Not much to talk about, so now would be a great time for any plugs if you have them, Amber.
Yeah, or we could jam out to the music, which is a banger.
Yeah.
And this game is so pretty, too. Like, that's the other thing.
Yeah, honestly.
Very pretty. You'll love to see it. While we're here, since we're not actually reading any plugs, shoutouts to my boy, Gibby, the plushy Quagsire, who's sitting behind me to my left.
True.
The goodest boy. Also, shoutouts to Hugo.
Yeah.
I love Hugo.
I need to find Hugo. I think Hugo's in our storage unit right now, but I definitely need to find him before we have the first S-Rock meeting.
I need Hugo hugs. Hugo hugs.
Hugo hugs. Wait a second. I just realized I need to double check the hotfix shows thing. Yes. Oh. Okay. Cool. We're good.
Okay. Sweet. So once we get here, do you wanna talk? Oh, are you? Or
yeah. No, I'm good.
If you want to talk about ledge grabbing.
Yeah. Exactly. So Jack kind of has like magnet hands, and he'll grab onto like any ledge that he's nearby. And every single time we do one of those ledge grabs or mantles, costs us about a second. So you might see some weird movement around these vertical sections, and that's entirely just to save time on ledge grab. Thankfully, you got ledge grab list there. And this section is really annoying because it's like a forced slowdown every single time you enter one of these like plank walk things. So you're going to see a little bit of weird orb boost movement around them to avoid having to slow down.
And we'll go straight into Bomb 2 skip, if you want to explain.
Yeah, so same deal with it being a menu jump. There's a little bit different on this one, though, because when we land inbounds on the other side, we're actually stuck because the wall is, like, kind of keeping us, like, inbounds, but it's weird. So we basically restart the level, or not restart the level, but reload from checkpoint, and it puts us in the predetermined position for the checkpoint. That is allowed on the leaderboards as long as you do it within 3 seconds of entering the kind of soft lock state. Whenever you see 3 seconds within the autosave symbol coming up, and that makes it legal for the leaderboards.
Yeah, so right here I'm going for a very tricky set of menu jumps here. I'm trying to look for specific visual cues to know that I've landed and gotten my jumps back, and that'll let me get a ledge grab up here. And
second try is
yeah,
pretty good.
Not bad. That trick is an early run killer.
Yeah.
In addition to the movement.
This is the third minecart section. It might be a little weird to look at because, you know, we're not in a minecart, but we basically just jumped up to this area, which is all solid ground, and since we go through this area in the minecart during regular gameplay, it's considered in bounds. So we're going to do a here, make sure that we don't accidentally land out of bounds.
Yeah.
Really good movement. The out of bounds run actually skips this boss fight by going a little bit further. But then we'd miss this banger music, so...
Yeah. So this is our second boss here. So, again, with the bosses, shockwaves don't exist if you're not moving, so I'm just going to stand underneath this guy, and he's not going to bother me at all. And then, after this attack, we're going to do a little dance, just like that.
You can also stand still for this one, but it's fun to make him do a little dance.
Yeah. And then we're going to use the shotgun to kind of take care of these small little friends. We're pretty set to go in this fight because even though, like if I take damage here, it doesn't do too much. And we can just refill our health by taking out all the little mini skeleton friends. So for each of these bombs, I'm going to wait in the middle there and then use the spear. So the spear has this property with the game's auto-target system. I'm going to swap off it so it doesn't send me into the drink. Where... it will sort of home in on like the nearest like enemy or interactable object that you can destroy, and with a little bit of extra speed than you would get with a roll. And it also does damage, so we use that to push into the bomb a little bit sooner as it's sort of flying into the arena there. But yeah, this fight is pretty straightforward. Again, it's kind of like a Zelda boss where we got to do the 3 phases, wait for the weak point to be revealed, and then deal damage. But this time we get an extra phase of Magic Missile, and then we'll be good to go here. If y'all want to enjoy the music, we'll kind of shut up for the time being, since this is a pretty straightforward fight, and there's not too much I can do to speed this up. Such a banger.
I'm just jamming out.
We're good.
Jax, I want you to know that I've got like some all-dressed chips here, and I'm so tempted to open the bag and start eating them, but I don't want it to pick up on the mic. So I am waiting to eat my snacks until after this practice.
I'm so sorry.
Alright, and that's the fight. And so, story-wise, basically what's happening is we're supposed to pick up a thing that was here, but the good guys, because we're actually the bad guys in this game, picked up the MacGuffin before we did.
Ooh, 1337.
So chase after the bad guys. Leet.
Alright, so this is the swamp. This is by far the hardest level in the whole run, and we got a couple of lamp boosts right at the start that are pretty tricky, so I'm going to be quiet for this one right here. Set up in a very specific spot. I didn't get it. That one's temperamental. But hopefully I get the second one because it looks cooler. Anyway.
So we haven't really seen much of it during this run, but Jack doesn't do so well with water. And if you'll notice, we're in a swamp.
Oh, I barely got the speed. That was close.
Get that? There's a lot of water in a swamp, so a lot of this is just kind of like Death Valley. Like, you will die if you do not move in the way that you want to, so you have to be really, really careful with your movement.
Alright, so that's a new strat right there. If you get like a perfect speed orb boost, you can carry that over the roof there and completely skip some of that platforming there. That one I learned a little bit ago. It's really dangerous. Well, actually, no, it's not dangerous, but it's really cool. You only get like one shot before it starts losing time, though. Alright, so we're coming up to the Big Ugly, which is probably the hardest lamp boost in the run. Well, actually, no, that's not true. There's harder lamp boosts. The hardest, like, one that I like to go for consistently. Let's see if I can hit it. Ah, that's okay. So sometimes with lamp boosts, the enemies will actually damage the lamp while you're trying to set up, and that can impact the setup that you're trying to go for. So I'll just take a quick death and try again here. I got several attempts at this, so we'll see what happens.
I don't believe we mentioned this earlier, but every single lamp is a little bit different when you're doing, sick.
Got the extended Big Ugly. That was a bad setup too, so.
Yeah. Basically, every single lamp is a little bit different for how you want to position for the lamp boosts, and some of them you want to use different weapons as well. So, like, you kind of have to, like, learn every single lamp that you're going to be boosting off of, and keep that in mind during the run. So it's really, really mentally taxing.
So,
and now we're just doing a
little skip here. No big deal.
Yeah.
So that will upset you. I'll explain it. That will upset you if you've ever seen that. If you've played this game casually before. What you're actually supposed to do is the stagecoach driver over there is asking you to help him find an ingredient for his soup and go find a mushroom in the forest. And if you get the mushroom for him, he'll let you use his horse to get to the next section. However, we just kind of hijacked his horse. And reason being is that we get on top of that tree using some menu jumps and jump into the air above the horse. And there's actually a trigger there that will allow us to just jump on top of the horse. And we're not sure if it's like a dev testing trigger or if it's a trigger that moves down to the ground once you've done the required bit of gameplay there. But we skip going down that big puzzle platforming segment, and it saves a lot of time. So you'll be seeing us go. Yeah, you'll be seeing us go for that again on the actually the next horse as well. But that one requires a much more difficult setup to do successfully. So hopefully that goes well for me. Yeah. I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to throw in there. Sorry.
No, basically just the same thing, that you do that menu jump to hit the surprisingly small trigger there. Same deal with the second one, except it's
it's worse
more difficult because you've got to do a lamp boost in order to hit it without going for the backup. So really, really technical.
Yeah, but before we even get to that, we got a tough lamp boost that I have to go for here to skip a fight. If you want to kind of explain it.
Yeah, basically, so there's this really annoying fight that's coming up that takes a long time, and we're going to do a lamp boost to try and avoid it. And just like before, the enemies might destroy the lamp and break it before we get the boost. And they also kind of chunk
That's
us.
first try. Let's go.
You get it first try. Yeah, it actually still saves time if you do it, I think, like, third or fourth try.
Yeah. Also very easy to die there, because the enemies there do a lot of damage. Nice. Got the hard strat. That is the hardest strat in the game. He's getting that ledge grab. And this is horse 2 skip. So we get the lamp boost up to here. Jump high above. Boom! Nice. First try! Alright.
Good job.
That is a lot harder to hit the trigger on than it looks. I will just say that. Whew. That's like one of the biggest run killers are the horse 1 and 2 skips. Well, horse 1's not that bad. It has a very consistent lineup. But you have to have a lot of jump height in order to get on top. And sometimes if you do that lamp boost I use, you'll actually get like a turbo amount of speed. So there's a couple of options that you have there. You can do something called an orb cancel, which I'll go into later. You'll see me go for then in certain spots later in the game. But also, you can also try to just boost straight into the trigger. It's really hard. It's only really done in individual level attempts. But you can do it. I have done it before. You don't want to rely on it, because you'll just go into the drink if you miss. But
yeah,
we got another horse.
Also do the, you can do the stall with a sword attack as well, right? And the shotgun?
Yes. But the Orb Boost is because most of the time, if you're used to New Game Plus, you're used to the motion of your mouse already being up there. So it's kind of a second nature thing. So there's a fight coming up here. I'm gonna do the swag lamp boost strat of skipping it, but if I miss it, there's like a really fast and easy backup. So I'm only gonna try this once.
All right, let's do it.
I'm gonna die, but I hit the cuts. I hit the checkpoint trigger, so that won't actually lose. Yeah, so that won't actually lose me any in-game time. So it's actually totally fine to go for that. In like the context of like a PB attempt, I'll lose like 10 seconds off of loads. Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't affect my
so
final time.
You might have noticed there that if you're really paying attention to these lamp boosts, Jax was in a very different position, and that just kind of like goes to show what we were talking about earlier about every lamp being different.
Yeah.
Which is just a ridiculous amount of information that you have to keep in your brain while doing a run with really technical movement.
Yeah, and depending on the category, it changes too. Because if you're playing the new game, like new file, new game runs, you have you get a new weapon at the end of each level. And so, a lot of times, if you learn, like, a lamp boost in one category, you might have to relearn it with a different weapon in the other, just to make it work. So the Horse 2 one is a very good example, because in the any percent run, you use the sword there. And that is a little bit more prone to giving you too much speed, which is why I tend to use the Orb in order to set that one up. And even in New Game Plus, sometimes people will have different preferences for different lamp boosts, so it's really kind of a cool. You kind of get to choose your own adventure with how you like to torture yourself with some of these lamp boosts. But we're in another auto scroller bit. This is sort of a River Styx boat ride. This one's pretty straightforward, and there's nothing we can really do to speed up this one. I'm going to be jumping to some platforms early, because I can. But there's some stuff we're going to be doing for the second and third one that we can do to either skip portions of or outright completely skip. And I actually completely forgot that we had a second boat ride in one of the next levels because we just skip it so nonchalantly. But I don't want to spoil that quite yet because that is a classic trick in this run, and if you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it for you. But yeah, we got time to relax here as we're making our way through the rest of the boat ride. So Amber, if you got anything you'd like to plug at this point, or if you got any questions from the chat, now would be a great time.
We have one question from the chat. Where's the yellow shirt?
In the wash.
For those of you who may not know Jax for as long as I have, Jax was the fabled yellow shirt guy during Helix's
Super Monkey Ball run.
2020?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you heard me hooting and hollering during that run, that was me in the yellow shirt.
Yeah.
But I don't wear that shirt much anymore because it's gotten kind of old and faded. But yeah.
I will get you a new yellow shirt to wear to GDQ.
Alright. Do you want to explain the Lost Woods here, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, basically, the Lost Woods is a kind of like puzzle where you're supposed to go in the directions where the crows are not. And Jax always freaks me out whenever he does this section because he cuts these corners super tight, and like every single time I think he's gonna die to the like vines in the trees. And if it happens during this hotfix showing, I'm gonna laugh so hard.
Yep. You always do.
Yeah, but it's basically just a thing where you have to go through the woods as fast as possible. Don't go down the wrong path. Or
I use a lot of rolls here because I don't want to even though I'm cutting the corners tight. Sometimes you can orb boost a little too fast and get a tree fall on you or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens when you take the wrong path. That was a good boost, but I hit the root.
Yeah.
We're just gonna roll.
Now we're coming up on the boss fight. So this isn't gonna make a whole lot of sense because we haven't been doing the story things. But basically, this witch and the stagecoach driver are married, and they are making a stew for dinner, and they decided that a pumpkin head is the best final ingredient.
Yeah, because they're vegans.
Yeah.
Which is rad. But we gotta take the horse to go take them on. So the crow is gonna take over. We have a crow buddy. If you didn't need another reason to buy this game, you get a crow familiar. And you've been seeing me use him to shoot at enemies and stuff. Yeah, he's gonna take over my body for me here. And I'm going to be a bit quiet here because the Wait Until Overture remix here is quite the bop, so I'll just let you all enjoy it if you've never heard this before.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I said kind of Nightmare Before Christmas vibes, this is probably the song that gives me the most, like, throwback to that, if anything.
Yeah, probably. And now we're coming up on the actual boss fight part. And this fight is really, really technical, so I'm going to be doing most of the talking here, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, so basically what we're doing is we're trying to knock these green potions into the eyes. The red potions will harm us. This first phase is not too bad, but we're going to start having a lot of things being thrown at us during the later stages.
Nice.
The second stage is arguably the most difficult, which we'll see why in a little bit. But going to go for the double. We got it. So now as we're waiting, we just have to destroy these vines. You see these rotating vines as well that will damage us that we have to avoid. And then soon you'll also see the stagecoach driver coming in and trying to attack us as well. So we're having to keep all of those things in mind while also properly directing the potions into the eyeballs. Second phase, like I said, is probably the hardest because the third phase, the platform actually rotates, which allows you to basically just stand in the same spot, or at least reduce your movement.
Okay, so that was a really cool strat I got there, I'll just point out, where I stood at a very specific spacing to hit both of the roots at the same time with my shotgun blast. That's really hard. I very rarely hit it, so that's cool that I got to attempt that. I just happened to be in the right positioning, pretty lucky. Okay, wow, that was a really good fight! And then we have to beat up the stagecoach driver and his wife, and then we get our head back. Wow, that was a really good swamp. Holy crap. Okay!
Is this PB pace?
Yeah, oh yeah, this is PB pace.
Okay, cool. Alright, and now we're entering what a lot of people consider the best level in the game. Skeletown. It's got some of the most sick movement in the entire run.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited to be able to show this off.
It's so cool! Yeah, this is a really fun level to run through. So we're going to start off with an Orb Boost here, and then we'll go for a Lamp Boost right here. Do you want to explain, like, what this skips?
Yeah, so basically there's this section where we're supposed to be collecting planks in order to make a bridge into the actual town past these walls.
We're good.
Nice save there. And now we're just making our way over to the next part of the level. We're just going through all of these kind of rotating things. You'll notice that we're able to move through some and not others. So any of these single wall spinny things you can't roll through, but the triple ones you can. And coming up, we're going to do probably one of the coolest tricks in the game. And this is called Zombie Jack.
Looks good. Nice, we got it for sure. Okay,
nice.
That was great spacing. So what I do there is I use the double jump attack of the shotgun, which is a giant wide range blast, and that stalls my air momentum. And then I fall into the water as that cutscene starts to play, and it will cause a very interesting glitch to happen. And you'll get to see the effects of it a bit more later. I guess if you want to go into it now, we can.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of time. Let's do it during the auto-scroller.
Yeah.
Just once we get in there. Because this auto-scroller is pretty basic. We just have to win this race against these knights.
And they're gonna ragdoll pretty hard. Alright, I got him.
Yeah. So basically how that works is that as soon as you fall into the water, the game just starts dealing ridiculous amounts of damage to Jack every frame. But after a certain point, in order to not overload the game, it stops dealing that damage until you restart the level, either from reloading a checkpoint or dying. But because we're in a cutscene and invulnerable to damage, we basically turn off that check for damage from the water for the remainder of the time that we are, like, alive. Like, so until we die or until we restart from a checkpoint. Which means that we can just go through the incredibly, like flat area that's perfect for orb boosting and lamp boosting, and not have to worry about dying. So you're going to get to see some really awesome orb boosting movement and lamp boosting movement.
Yeah.
And this is actually where the second boat ride is that we're just completely skipping.
There's also like a section where you have to push an explosive cart as well. This saves like an inordinate amount of time, so... it should be noted that the glitched state resets if you die, so I'm not immune to damage or anything, so I do have to be a bit careful.
We're just immune to the damage caused by the water.
Alright, that one was pretty good. And then I'll go for this one over here. I'm gonna grab this checkpoint just to be safe. And then I'll go for another one here. Alright, now watch this. Slow down. Jump. Double jump. Jump. Oh, I screwed it up. I tried to be cool. But that's all good. I got like a halfie, so that's not too bad. And I got like a really good orb boost. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good place to practice your orb boost when you're new to the game, just because there is that like flat ground area for you to move through. Gonna do some menu jumps to get around these cart pushing sections.
This one's the hardest.
You got a bit of a proxy there.
Got it.
Nice job.
And again, that's just an invisible wall, so we're just allowed to go over the top of that while remaining in bounds. You'll see me do a similar thing coming up here. Set up an orb boost. Nice. So, that orb boost is really nice to hit because it lets you avoid the enemy fire. Weird proxy? Yeah, okay. I'm just going to reset that one because I got some weird movement there I don't like seeing. One more. Nice.
Alright, now we're going to mash through this as fast as we can.
Good.
And looks like we got it.
We're
so
safe.
we, for whatever reason, when you have zombies jacked active and you mash through that, the enemies don't spawn. So this is just a really chill section right now. So, again, Amber, if you've got anything to plug, now's a great time. Also, another bop.
Also, holy shit.
Yeah, this time is kind of insane.
This is actually really ridiculous right now. There's a very good chance to speed these. I don't think I'm going to go for the reverse in the north, though. I'm just going to play it safe.
Yeah, just play it safe.
Because, like, this is...
Sunny.
What? Hi, Nastani. We love you. I think.
Gotta love that confidence.
Yeah. Alright, and then we're out of the fight, and the boss trigger for this next part is actually pretty far in, so I can go for, I suck. But you can go for some orb boost there and get straight into the boss trigger if you're fast, and not fumbling. But now we're going into the fourth boss fight, and this one also has some pretty cool tech going on, so I'll try to do my best to explain. So this what we're going to be doing is some AI manipulation. So the way that this boss works is that it'll do the spinning hammer attack, and then these overhead hammer slams, and it will do it in a set order every time. So it'll do the spin, and it'll do like 5 or so overhead slams. So no, I think it's 6 or 7. I don't remember. And then it'll do this hammer projectile attack, which you can just roll out of the way of. So what I'm going to do is manipulate it into 2 hammer attacks close by, and then run away. So what I want the boss to do is to attack this tower to deal damage to it such that it does the final blow with the spinning attack. And so normally in casual play, okay, well, I'll explain what that sets up briefly, because we're going to make Ruby angry.
Yeah. Go ahead and heal.
You can heal through the wall, because if you get into this fight without dying first, that cauldron doesn't deload, and you can heal through the invisible wall. It's pretty great.
Yeah. And you can just stand still.
You can just stand still.
There's so many, like, just things that make this fight infinitely easier.
Yeah. So, normally, you're supposed to see another spinning attack from the boss here. And what we did is we ensured that we had the boss break the tower on the spinning attack, so that it would advance into its next wave of attacks. So I'm going to do the same thing again. 1, 2 hammer manips, and then I'm going to lure him back over. And this time he's going to do 2 hammer swings on the tower, which is a little bit faster than the manip I got the first time. So that's 1, 2, and then he'll kill it with the spin. And then for the last phase, we don't need a manip at all, because the last phase will kill the fight, or the boss rather. And we can just get to the tower as quickly as possible, and then I'll go ahead and heal through here.
Yeah. And we also, like, obviously because we have that free heal during the fight, we don't have to worry about taking damage at all, so that also is another thing that just makes this fight super free.
Yeah, and this fight is normally a lot harder in a casual playthrough. And it can be a pretty fun fight to learn, but when you know the cheese strats, it's really easy. Same for the final boss to a degree, to a lesser degree. But yeah, for this phase, the other thing too is the siege tower will always spawn opposite of where the boss is located. So I always know where it's going to. Oh, whoa! I haven't gotten that in forever. So what happened there is if you stand in the right spot, you can actually you basically proxy the boss, and oh, that was close. It pushes the boss away from you, and that one usually it just pushes it into the circle and doesn't do anything interesting. But that time I actually got it to push closer to the tower, which is really fast. And we are now going into the 4th level, and Ruby's favorite, cemetery.
Yeah. Yeah, this is so... This time is actually nuts.
Yeah, this is a really good run so far. It's not quite over yet. We still got 2 really tough levels to go. Although I get a little bit of a break, because this level is a lot more mindless fun. With some of the movement.
Yeah, so this is the cemetery. It's my favorite level in the game. And you're going to see a lot of really cool movement through here, a lot of interesting orb boosts, and we're also going to do a lot of weird sequence breaking things. So right off the bat, the first one is we're going to talk to the groundskeeper, and we're supposed to collect 3 grimoires, but it turns out that we only need to collect 1 and then smack the gate, and then it opens up, which we're assuming is a debug trigger left by the devs.
Yeah. So this is going to really annoy you casually if you grabbed all 3 grimoires. So we got the first one here, and then I just roll and break it, and it just lets you through. We don't, like, it's really... I think there's an explanation for it somewhere that I'm just forgetting, but it's really nice. You just skip the other 2. Alright, here's a really sick lamp boost over this is basically a boost of faith. So I'm going to use the scythe for this one to actually limit my speed so I don't go flying off the other side.
Nice.
Nicely done, first try.
Oh, another thing to point out right here is these enemies right here, the gargoyles, are the entire reason why we play with free camera on, because the auto camera will always target those gargoyles, which makes it near impossible to make your way through these levels.
Yeah, because the game really wants you to fight them, but no. Also, holy crap, those are some good orb boosts.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we're going into the auto-scrollery section.
Yeah, so this is kind of an interesting level because, like, the first part of the level, like a lot of the others, is pretty linear, where we're just kind of platforming down a straight path, and we'll take this gargoyle to sort of the next section with the Gravekeeper. But, like, later on, the level is going to actually fan out into multiple wings where you do a lot of, like, different activities. to sort of unlock the boss fight in the end of the level. And this is like another one. So there's like normally a lot more stuff to this level than you would actually see. And if you do a 100% run, you would actually get to see a lot more of it. But because of an oversight and just some leftover stuff, we're going to be doing something kind of cheeky instead. But this is just mostly a chill ride into the next section here. So
Yeah.
we'll relax for a little bit, give myself a little bit to breathe.
Yeah, keep the nerves down and everything.
Yeah, it was such a good run.
Yeah.
Woo.
Imagine if the hotfix run is this good.
That would be so lovely. But
Yeah.
I'm not betting on anything.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, now we're getting into the next section once we pass this gargoyle. And this is another one of those sections where we just kind of chill, and we're going to be breaking some gravestones.
Yep, so I'm going to mostly be using the orb here and the shotgun. We didn't really talk about it, but the orb has, when you use it, the rolling attack. So the rolling attack is what I use, where I do like that ha 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 ha, and you see this giant swirling circle. The regular standard attack of the orb has a massively disjointed hitbox, and so does the shotgun. So that's what we're going to be primarily using. And the rolling shotgun attack is really good as well. I'm actually going to Alt-Tab, so you're going to hear the game audio go off for just a second, because I'm going to pull up another Chrome tab for this puzzle coming up right here. So that this is a match the names puzzle, and they are in a set pattern. Thank you, devs.
Yeah. Honestly. And thank you, Britt, for, like, mapping all of this out and making things easier for us. Oh,
I accidentally hit the wrong one on the way there. Oopsie. That's fine.
What a shame.
Oh no, my perfect run. Oh well. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's basically just the same every time. Britt made a map that shows the matching names and also shows the recommended order to complete them in. So it makes the run so much easier.
It's so much better.
Thank you.
And that only counts for one grave area. Yeah, thank you, Britt. We'll be shouting out Britt a bit more towards the end here.
Yeah, exactly.
But coming up here, a couple more rolls in order to just kind of save a little bit of extra speed, and then a shotgun rolling attack in order to get a little bit of extra reach, and then we're invincible during the cutscene, so don't need to worry too much.
And obviously we saved the last one for the one being right next to the gate, just to save a little bit of time, because it doesn't move us over to there.
Yeah.
Going for an orb boost to skip over one of the...
No, I'm not going for the orb boost. I'm just gonna jump off the tree and then dive bomb cancel. So I did basically an orb boost without going for the bunny hop there to get a little bit of extra speed, because you can't bunny hop off of those narrow walkways because of some very strange properties that they have coded into them. And now coming up after we get off the zipline is one of the sickest lamp boosts in the run. I'm gonna try to go for this a couple of times and we'll see how it goes. Can be a little bit finicky sometimes, but it's really cool. No, I want this. Right? Yeah.
Okay.
This looks good.
See it?
Alright, we got the baby version. That's more than plenty for me.
Alright. Nice job.
You know, play it a little safe. Yeah, there we go.
So, if you play this game casually, you'll remember that this is the section where you it branches out and we're supposed to destroy the idols of the 7 deadly sins, and you end on gluttony. Well, it turns out that if you use a lamp boost in order to land in the boss fight trigger for gluttony, you can skip the other 6 idols. So that's what we're going to be doing right here with a lamp boost up top, kind of close to the pride idol. Alright.
Perfect setup. Boom.
Perfect setup.
And that's and it looks a little out of bounds there. That is technically inbounds, because the house has collision, so you just land on top of it. And then you actually, when you do the fight casually, you walk in a little doorway there, and you have the free range to move around where I landed. So that's why it's allowed in a no out of bounds speedrun. Just in case y'all were like, hey, why is he cheating? And then I manipulate the boss a little bit there. He spawns 2 platforms kind of like away from you. But if you wait for him to like pick where he's going to spawn them and then start moving, you can actually catch it as they spawn up and rise into the air and save a little bit of time there. But this fight's pretty straightforward. He's a bit of a goopy lad. He kind of reminds me of that toilet boss from A Hat in Time, but with a different kind of aesthetic. I think it looks pretty neat.
Yeah. And we're trying to figure out, there is a quick kill that a couple people have gotten, but we don't know what causes it. We've got a couple ideas. So if you want to help learn a little bit of, if you want to help discover a little bit of text for a really fun game, pick up the game and try and figure out how to do the gluttony quick kill, because we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, and that's something we didn't really mention, and what's really great about speedrunning this game accessibility-wise is that obviously I'm playing on PC because the loading times are fastest compared to consoles, and for an RTA showing like this, that's what's important. But on all of the other console releases of this game, they all also have the in-game timer that cuts out the loads, and it, factors out any, lag or performance-related things that might give, a PC runner an advantage in another speed game. So basically, there is no optimal console. You can run this on whatever you have access to and compete with everybody else on the leaderboard, and that's, one of the most incredible things about this game, and why I'm trying to recommend it to people more as a good speed game to get into, is it's really accessible in that way. And that's one of the really wonderful things about the dev of this game. There were multiple devs who worked on this, but this was pretty much the brainchild of one person, Nicholas Masonier, I think, if I'm not butchering his name. But he put an in-game timer for us on all versions of the game. For our speedrunning community, and we are eternally grateful, because, oh, that's okay.
That's fine.
That's fine. Again, in-game time doesn't count this, so we'll just walk it back.
Yeah. You're still, a minute ahead.
Yeah, this is a really good run. We'll take it safe, and then I'll go for the swag one after this. I got the baby swag, but that's okay. Alright, so now we're going into the final level of the run, so we still got some time left in our little journey together, but now we're going to the north. We've located the lair of our antagonist, and we're going to be making our way to fight him and get evil to win for once, as they like to say on the store scene page. Nice. So there is a what's called a reverse lamp boost that you can do here to skip this button pressing sequence that I'm going to go do for consistency's sake, and also because I'm on PP pace, and if you mess it up, you lose time as opposed to just going and activating this. So we're not going to bother. But it's a really cool strat. So a reverse lamp boost is a lamp boost. So essentially lamps will always send you perpendicular to where their lamp is pointed in a sort of specific way. I'm just gonna do a orb boost down here. Doing some backup movement here, not too bad. And then there's a lot of these ice patches here that we can use as platforming, which don't really lead to a lot of skips, but just gives you more movement flexibility. And then I'm gonna go for a cutscene skip here. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, going back to what Jax was saying earlier, normally the lamps will send you to the left, and so a reverse is when you line up and get the lamp to send you to the right, which is more difficult and less consistent. Nice recovery on that. That was really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, now we are...
this is where the level starts to get broken. Yeah. So Santa's in this game. You kill Santa in this game casually, but unfortunately there will be no Santa slaughter in this speedrun, because doing Santa is really slow and a little annoying sometimes to do fast, so we're just not going to bother with his nonsense.
Alright, here we go. Good luck.
Proxy, that's fine. So I need to fall a little bit and see if it'll give me my jump. Good. Reacted to the proxy. Okay, I'm gonna have to... I should be able to recover this. No, come on. Ah, that's unfortunate.
Alright, you got this.
One more. Nice, there we go. Okay. I was a little slow, but we'll take it. So there's Santa's house right there, and because this is a no out of bounds run, we just jump over the top of it, and I'm gonna go for kind of a swag strat here. Okay, that wasn't enough speed, so I cut it off early. But that was cool that I got it. And then there's a fight you're supposed to do here to make that bridge appear. But with the orb, you can reach this ice patch, and you don't have to bother. It's quite nice.
Yeah, and we should just reiterate that, like, you get the orb when you enter this level, even in any percent, so you can do all of these orb boost movements in the any percent run as well.
Yeah, we don't recommend it to beginner runners though, because it can be kind of tough, like, to get used to. So that's what most people will start with any percent no out of bounds just because of safety. Also, we skipped a lot of that puzzle, and that makes people angry, which is really funny because that's like kind of a complicated bridge puzzle where some switches turn to bridge on and off, and you just skip the point of it, and it's great.
Yeah, and now we are on the third boat section of the game, but the second one that we're doing.
Yep.
And after this, it's just Santa 2 skip, and then the final boss.
Yeah, pretty much. This level is like one of my favorites in the run because it's just like, not only is it like a major test of like everything in the speedrun and even casually, but like it's such a different aesthetic from the rest of the game that comes like right at the end, and it's just such a cool like I mean, obviously, like I said, Nightmare Before Christmas vibes because, you know, we have a Santa level and all, but like, oh, this level is just so cool to me. No pun intended. I don't know. I think this level's like super underrated, especially the final boss too, which Ruby will probably be complaining about once we get to.
Absolutely. You know I've got to complain at how like easy it is in the speedrun compared to casual play. Because I did my casual playthrough of this game on stream, and Jax was watching. How many? It took me like 2 hours to get the final boss.
It wasn't 2 hours. It was only like 40 minutes.
Okay. It was too long, considering how easy the fight is when you know the trick.
Yeah. It's kind of a cool challenge, though. I found it enjoyable, even though I also found it frustrating as, like, someone who considers myself okay at platformers. But yeah, like we said, we're going to be doing something. Speaking of doing something, I'm going to be going for a lamp boost to try to skip the back half of, not off of that lamp right there, but off of this one coming up here. I'm going to try to skip the rest of the section, but I've been having a bit of trouble with this one, so wish me luck.
You got this.
No speed. Okay, that's fine. So if you don't get any speed, you just ride the boat.
And it's honestly better than if you miss it by going too fast and going...
Because you have to, go back to the checkpoint and wait for even more of the boat.
Yeah, so that's actually, like, the second best option.
Yeah,
is getting no speed.
So if I have to, like, take a specific L during this run, I'll take missing that lamp boost. That's not a huge deal. Yeah. I'll go for a reverse here for fun, to try to make up a little bit of that time. Let's see if I hit this. Nope, wrong side. Oh well, you get one shot at it. Happens. So if I hit that one, you can actually lamp boost over to a hidden path reserved for a 100% collectible. But instead what we're going to do is just jump around the wall and avoid the guards over there. And they can shoot me backwards to the wall, but it's no big deal. And now we're going into the second section of the north. So this is a sort of transition point. The level is actually so big that they have to have a section like this in there so that they can actually load in the next part of the level seamlessly. And also, with addition to the final boss, that's why we have these like floating through space and time bits. They're pretty straightforward. As long as I just don't die, we're good. Yeah,
Which is like...
Yeah, go ahead.
That's the basic rule for most video games. Don't die.
Yeah, just don't die, forehead. Yeah. Yeah, I feel bad for these poor skeletons who didn't deserve any of this nonsense, and they're just getting pecked to death by Micro-Familiar. Alright, so in this section, this is like the only place I'm not going to Orb Boost at all. And the reason why, and we didn't really mention this, because we just didn't have time, we mentioned the enemy lock-on mechanic a bit, where you kind of target onto enemies that are nearby you. If you try to Orb Boost near enemies, the Orb Boost will, like, be pointed in the direction of them from, like, far distances. So you really want to try to avoid Orb Boosting away from enemies, so that doesn't happen, and I have been sent off so many cliffs because of that.
Oh, yeah. And
you got Santa 2.
Santa 2 skip.
Last major skip of the run. Pretty easy, too. Just do that, and then you jump over the top, and then there's a tiny crack between the wall and the house that you can just slip right through while still being in bounds.
Nice job.
One more Orb Boost for the people. And we got it, nice. With a ledge grab, but we got it, we got it, we got it. Alright, so now we are going into the last auto-scrollery bit here before the final boss encounter. This is looking like a really solidly paced run, despite the mistake there.
This is kind of nuts.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what the final time will be. But yeah, as we make our way into the boss fight here, Amber, if you got any more things you'd like to plug before we get towards the end of the run, now would be a good time. My real time isn't even under an hour yet, by the way.
Yeah.
This is gonna be sub-hour RTA. Like, this is gonna be, like, going into this cutscene, sub-hour 30. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, this is wild.
Alright, so, if you would do the honors of explaining, the wizard boss fight for the final boss here, go ahead.
So, basically, there's 3 phases. As each phase goes on, we get progressively less and less floor to move around on. If we fall off the floor, we die, and we have to restart the fight. Starts with these strike down sections, with like lightning bolts. Then we've got some tornadoes, and then we've got the really annoying in casual play, really trivial in speedrun section that is like these big like shockwave walls. But like we said before, if there's a projectile that's moving like that and you're standing still...
Yeah, so you're supposed to jump through the hoops, hands are off the keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, through those tiny little hoops, and as you, like, as the amount of floor gets smaller and smaller, and those hoops end up being, like, over the pits of death, oh, it's just so frustrating. You got it.
So you actually saw me, like, roll and do a jump attack there because the rolling attack with the orb has a bit of startup, and I knew I messed up my movement there, so I actually swapped over for safety purposes. So, again, try not to move around too much, and I'm just reacting to where the lightning bolts spawn and rolling away. These lightning bolts do a lot of damage, so I'm trying to be careful to avoid them the best I can. It is very easy to die. Even though you have the shockwave trick, it can still be non-trivial to die here. But with the tornadoes, I can kind of just sit in the back for these first 2 phases and not have to worry all that much. And then when the second to last tornado is done, I just get towards the middle of the platform and wait for these shockwaves. I cannot tell you how hard these shockwaves are.
They really, really are. But unfortunately for the third phase, there's not enough ground for us to be able to just stand back and avoid it, so we do have to worry about the tornadoes.
A little bit.
Yeah, little bit.
A little bit. I was cutting a little close.
You got this.
Yeah, so, as we go into last phase here, it's not quite time yet, but for RTA, time will be called on final hit of the boss. So we're going into the final shockwaves phase. These tornadoes won't deal too much damage if you walk away while getting hit by them. And get ready on time, I guess. I think this will barely record.
It's more than barely.
Get ready. Time!
Let's go!
Let's freaking go! Yes!
Second world record.
Yes! I finally broke the curse!
Nice
Woo!
job, dude.
Oh my
Let's
gosh.
And
53.
I don't have a wide.
No width for you. I don't even have it set
For me.
on this setup. Oh well then. But yeah,
Oh, dude.
that was Pumpkin Jack. New Game Plus, no out of bounds, new world record somehow. That would have been potential sub 53 if I didn't miss the boat skip. But
Yeah,
I
if we
clutched
hadn't
it.
missed boat skip, and if we had gotten Santa 1 first try.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
really
dude.
awesome. Holy crap. So I guess shoutouts real quick. Shoutouts to Amber for having us on the hotfix. Shoutouts to Ruby for being on commentary. Shoutouts to
Thank
me
you
for
for
getting
having
world
me.
record, I guess. And shoutouts to the whole Pumpkin Jack community. I'd like to give a specific shoutout again to the developer of this game. I'm going to skip to the credits. It's Nicholas on here. So, he worked on so much of this game by himself, so I really recommend that you go pick up this game and support small indie developers who make really cool stuff like this. Big shout out as well to Britt. He was the guy who got me into this game. I know him from the SpongeBob scene, and he's a really nice dude and helped me learn the game. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Woo!
Shoutouts to Speedrun for Rochester,
Yes,
our
yes.
local speedrunning community.
Let's go.
And, dude, that was so sick. That was such a good run with marathon commentary
Yeah.
the entire time, too.
I was not nervous at all either, so
Yeah.
I really had to be.
Alright, let's go ahead and raid, I guess, Frozen?
Oh, are they streaming?
Yeah.
Yes. Also, before I go, hi Ty, it is so good to see you. DM me later. We need to like catch up. Ty is my friend. I met Ty in 3rd grade. So
shit.
I feel Ty. I'm so sorry. I like haven't been talking to you. I'm very bad about reaching out to my friends. We should hang out again sometime. Or at least say hello again. I'm sorry. I'm such a bad friend. I also need to say hello to Emily again as well, because I'm a bad friend. But yeah, we're gonna go raid our good friend, Frozen Flygon. What are they up to tonight?
I think they're doing, ILs of ARB.
Oh, yeah, they're still live.
Yeah.
No, it looks like Into the Jungle B-sides. Okay, sweet.
Oh, those ILs are, I guess, tomorrow or Thursday. But yeah, let's do it. Let's do a raid.
Alright, yeah, we're gonna go raid Frozen. Post Frick all caps.
Frick all caps.
Frick all caps. But yeah, that's going to be it from us. I'm not streaming tomorrow, so tomorrow is GDQ Hotfix. So we're probably going to be... the show starts at 10 p.m. Eastern. I don't think we know yet what time the Pumpkin Jack run is. But we are going to... I'm going to just kind of be practicing offline for that. Have a good night, everybody! Go check out Frozen if you haven't before. Alright. Night, everybody!
I'm pausing.
Alright. We still live?
Yeah. Oh, no, we're not live anymore.
Alright,
Let's go. Hi, Jaxler.